Hi everyone and welcome back to our channel. In today's video we're going to learn how to crochet this super easy water bottle holder. You're going to need approximately 50 grams of yarn for the actual water bottle holder and then a second colour for the bow. Now if you have some cotton or bamboo yarn or more of a natural fibre yarn, I would really recommend using this as it doesn't stretch as much. I annoyingly don't have any, so I'm just using some DK acrylic yarn that I have, and that worked fine, but if you have got cotton yarn, I would really recommend using it. You're then also going to need 2 crochet hooks, a 4mm crochet hook and a 3mm crochet hook. You'll also need a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and then optionally some stitch markers, your water bottle and a tape measure. Begin by making a slip knot. Then, using your 5mm hook, we're going to chain 5. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. From here, find your very first chain, insert your hook into it and make a slip stitch. So yarn over, pull through that chain and pull straight through the loop on your hook. Then you can pull your tail end to tighten up any gaps. And if you open this up, you'll see that this has created a small ring that we're going to work into. From here, chain 2. Now, it's really important to remember that this chain 2 does not count as a stitch at any point in this pattern. From here, we're now going to make 12 double crochet into our ring. So yarn over, insert your hook into your ring, yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And we're going to do that 11 more times. So yarn over, insert your hook, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over, pull through 2. Once you have made your 12 double crochet, we are going to finish off the round by finding our very first double crochet. That's this one right here. So not the chain 2, your first double crochet. And we're going to slip stitch into it. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that stitch and pull straight through the loop on your hook. And that is what the end of round 1 looks like. Now, if you have a small gap like me, you can pull your tail end and that is going to close any gaps up for us. For round 2, we're going to start by chaining 2. And remember, this doesn't count as a stitch. Into every single stitch around, we're going to make 2 double crochet. So starting in that very first stitch, we have 1 double crochet, and our second double crochet. And we're just going to repeat that all the way around until we have 24 double crochet in total. There we are, that's the end of the round. And just as before, we're going to find our first double crochet and we're going to make a slip stitch into it. And this is what the end of round 2 looks like. For round 3, we're going to start by chaining 2. Starting in the first stitch, we're going to make 1 double crochet. Then, into the next stitch, we're going to make 2 double crochet. So here's 1, and here's 2. And we're just going to repeat these steps all the way around our circle. So into the next stitch, we'll have 1 double crochet. And then into the next stitch we'll have 2 double crochet. I'm just coming to the end of my round now, and you should be making 2 double crochet into your last stitch. And if you want to double check your stitch count, you should have 36 double crochet for this round. Then just as before, we're going to slip stitch into the very first double crochet to close our round. And there we are, that's the end of round 3. Now I'm just going to quickly show you here. This now fits the base of my water bottle pretty much perfectly. You can see there it's really nice and snug, is the exact same diameter. I believe it's just under 7 centimeters. Now, if 3 rounds isn't enough for you, if you need your base to be a little bit bigger, then feel free to crochet as many rounds as you would like. I will put the next few rounds up on the screen for you in case you need it, but you can go ahead and you can crochet as many or as few rounds as you would need. Once you've made your base, we're going to start working the sides. Begin by chaining 2. And just as before, that's not going to count as our first stitch. We're going to make 1 double crochet into every single stitch around. So starting in that very first stitch, we have 1 double crochet. And then in the next one, And you're just going to repeat that all the way around. And if your circle starts to fold inwards, if it starts to curve in, don't panic, that's exactly what you want it to do. I've got my last double crochet, and then just as before, as we always have done, we're going to find the very first double crochet of the round and we're going to slip stitch into it. And that is what the end of our round looks like. Now, I just have a small tip that I particularly recommend doing if you are a beginner. Taking one of your stitch markers, find your very last double crochet of the round and mark that stitch. You're going to see why we do this in just a minute. To start the next round, you're going to chain 2. Then, for the first time in this pattern, you're going to turn your work. Now, you'll see here that this stitch that we have marked is our first stitch of the round. Some of you might think it's this little one here. It's not. That's actually the slip stitch from the previous round. This one here is our very first stitch that we're going to work into. So you don't have to use this trick. I do, just because I get confused sometimes. I just think it's a good hack to have. For this round, we're simply going to make 1 double crochet into every single stitch around. So you're going to start in that first stitch and you're going to make 1 double crochet into each stitch. So you've probably noticed, but this round is exactly the same as the round we just made. There we are, I have 2 more stitches left of this round. So here's 1, and my last one, which is this one right here. Then, as always, we're going to slip stitch into the very first double crochet to close the round. There we are, that's what it looks like. From here, we're simply going to repeat that round until you have your desired height. So we're going to chain 2, then turn your work, and you're going to make 1 double crochet into every single stitch around, and then you're going to slip stitch into the first double crochet to close the round. And you can do this for as many or as few rounds as you would like. So go ahead, pause the video, and I'll meet you back when you've crocheted all of your rounds. This is what my water bottle holder is looking like now. I've made 29 rounds in total. If you look here, you'll see that there is the seam that runs down our water bottle holder. One of the reasons why we turn our work at the end of each round is to keep this seam straight. We're now going to begin to make the strap, and this is really simple. Start by chaining 2. And just as it has been for the whole pattern, this does not count as our first stitch. Into the first 4 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet. So here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and finally 4. Now you can of course make your strap as wide or as thin as you would like. From here, chain 2. Now turn your work. Working into each of these 4 stitches, we're going to make 1 double crochet. So starting in that very first stitch, we have 1 double crochet. And you're going to work along until you get to the end. Then at the end, chain 2 and turn your work. And you're going to repeat this until you have your desired length. I make 60 rows in total, but you can make as many or as few as you would like. Here we are, I've finished my strap now. At the end, chain 1 to fasten off, and then cut your yarn. Make sure you leave a nice long tail end because we're going to use this to sew with. There we are, you can pull it through and pull that nice and tight. Thread your tail end through your darning needle, like this. Then take your water bottle holder, and if you fold it in half, you should be able to work out where you want the end of your strap to be. So it should line up with 4 stitches. I'm going to do these 4 stitches here. Now make sure it's not twisted and line the end of your strap up with your water bottle holder. Then you're simply going to sew all the way across, catching 1 stitch of your water bottle holder and 1 stitch of your strap. And you're just going to sew across until your strap is nice and secure and isn't going to go anywhere. We have 1 step left now, and for this we're going to be needing our 3mm crochet hook and our second choice of yarn. Taking this, make a slip knot. Then chain 60. Once you've done that, you can then cut your yarn and you can pull that through and pull that nice and tight. So you should have something that looks like this. Now take your water bottle holder and you want to look at the second row from the top. So that's this row just here. You're going to use your hook to help you, and you want to find one of the double crochets that's roughly in the center. Insert your hook behind it, just like this here, and then you want to thread your chain that we just made behind it. There we are. I'm going to pull that through until it's roughly halfway. Just like that. And then from here, you can tie this chain into a bow. You might, like me, also want to trim down the ends of your bow. Now you just need to sew in any loose tail ends that you might have, and then you're done. You have your very own crochet water bottle holder. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a comment down below, to like and share this video, and to subscribe to our channel to stay up to date with all of our new recipes and patterns. And as always, happy crocheting!